God cares about the things we're waiting for, and He has a plan for those things, but He also cares deeply about who He is shaping us into right now. We are deep into fall now, which is my absolute favorite season. I love the changing leaves, all things pumpkin, fall fashion. I would say I love the cooler weather, but I live in San Diego, and San Diego doesn't really get the memo that it's fall, so we have to pretend and make the most of it, doing all the fall things while simultaneously blasting the air conditioning. Personally, fall always makes me think about change and the hope of newness, and I know many of us are in need of that hope. Many of us are waiting for different things and maybe feeling the weariness of a particular circumstance not changing so deeply that it hurts. Maybe for you, fall is a piercing reminder of the reality that yet another year has passed and the thing that you are longing for and praying for still hasn't happened. The change you are longing for has yet to occur. I know what it's like to feel that way from different waiting seasons I've walked through and from things I'm still waiting on now. Probably one of the most impactful waiting seasons I walked through was the decade-long wait for God to bring my husband into my life. And if a relationship is also the thing you're waiting for, I'm going to link below my Still Single devotional where I wrote the encouragement and truth I myself needed to hear in the wait while I was still in the wait, if you want to check it out. But for today's video, I want to unpack 3 biblical truths that I believe will encourage you deeply if you're feeling discouraged in the wait, feeling like nothing has changed for so long, and maybe despairing that it never will. Truths that will breathe life into your heart if it is in need of hope. I feel like in any season, but especially in waiting seasons, we have such a unique opportunity to deepen our intimacy with the Lord. I mean, really, it can go one of 2 ways. There's a temptation when we're waiting and nothing is changing, and we feel like God isn't answering our prayers, to eventually harden ourselves to Him or maybe even grow bitter. But there's also the invitation to let the pain push us deeper into His heart, where we can come to know Him more and let Him change us to be more like Him. I am so incredibly thankful for the ways my walk with the Lord deepened during my waiting season, and so much of that happened through knowing Him more through His Word. That is why I love recommending the Hillsdale college courses, especially the biblical and theological ones, and I'm so excited to be partnering with them on this portion of today's video. The Hillsdale online courses are incredible resources to help you understand the Bible more. They've brought so much depth and insight to my personal Bible study times, and every course I've taken has taught me new things, even though I literally got a degree in biblical studies in college and make Bible studies as my job. They are just that good, and if you've ever wished you could go to Bible college or have scholarly level guidance in helping you unpack different aspects of the Christian faith or different books of the Bible, or in understanding the history of Christianity, I am telling you, you need to check these out. I've taken their Genesis story course, Exodus story course, Ancient Christianity, Roman Republic, C.S. Lewis on Christianity, the David story course, which was probably one of my favorites, and I just started a new one called Paradise Lost, which walks through a 17th century epic poem that retells the biblical story of the fall of man. It has been so powerful in exploring the themes of good and evil, free will, human nature, redemption. All the Hillsdale College online courses are completely free and self-paced, so you can start anytime and continue through the lessons as you have little pockets of time. I cannot recommend them enough, and I'm telling you, this is truly a worthy investment of your time. So if you want to join me in taking the free Paradise Lost course or any of the other free Hillsdale College online courses, you can go right now to hillsdale.edu/Kaci to enroll. There's no cost. You can go at your own pace. So again, that is hillsdale.edu/Kaci to enroll. I'll have that link down in the description as well. And a huge thank you to Hillsdale for working with me on today's video. Before we get into it, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. I make Christian faith and lifestyle content aimed at encouraging you to know God more through His Word and to grow in His likeness, and I would love to have you here. And then give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful or encouraging. So here are 3 biblical truths to encourage you in your waiting season. The first is that no season lasts forever. The verse I want to read you for this point comes after the story of the flood in Genesis. In Genesis 6, God tells Noah to build an ark for his family because God is going to bring a worldwide flood. Noah builds the ark according to God's specifications. Then in chapter 7, it begins to rain for 40 days and 40 nights, and the whole earth is flooded with water. Even after the rain stops, water covers the face of the earth for 150 days until it finally begins to subside. And then once it does, Noah is finally able to enter out onto dry land again in Genesis chapter 8. He then builds an altar to the Lord and offers burnt offerings. Then at the very end of the chapter, God makes a promise. Here's what it says, Genesis 8:22. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease. I feel like whenever we hear the story of Noah's Ark, we often think of the promise God makes to never flood the earth again, which is symbolized by the rainbow. But here, God makes a second promise that while earth remains, there shall always be seasons. It was here that seasons were established, and God promises that the earth would always operate in seasons. And an implication of this, by the very nature of what a season is that no season lasts forever. I think that we all have our favorite seasons. Like I said, for me, it's fall. I look forward to it all year long. But I think the encouragement we can glean from this verse is that whether the season you're in is your favorite and one you love and one you looked forward to and one you are just enjoying, or a season that you just can't wait to be out of, no season lasts forever. God has established seasons in the earth and in our spiritual lives as well. This isn't necessarily a biblical guarantee that the specific thing we are waiting for will happen next or even at all, though we certainly should bring our desires before God in prayer. But it is a promise that the exact spot you are in right now won't last forever. God will do a new thing when the time is right, and each season has a purpose. In order to get to the harvest, the seed time first has to happen. In order to get to the morning, you first have to get through the night. Whatever season you're in right now, God has a purpose in it, even if you can't see it, and also it won't last forever. In His timing, He will do a new thing in you that He has already prepared. Ecclesiastes 3:1-8 echoes this truth when it says, "For everything there is a season, a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace." I also love the verse 1 Peter 5:10 that says, "And after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to His eternal glory in Christ, will Himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you." This also reiterates the idea that wherever you are right now, whatever season you're in, whatever suffering you may be walking through, it will not last forever. God will bring you through it, and He will bring you to a place where He Himself restores, confirms, strengthens, and establishes you. Little side note, if you want to dig deeper into the books of 1st and 2nd Peter, I'm currently doing a free Bible study with me series through those books here on YouTube, where we walk through and do chapter by chapter study. So I'll have that linked above if you want to check it out. The second encouragement I want to share with you is that God has already written your story, start to finish. In other words, God is sovereign. He is completely in control over the timing of every single detail of your story, which means that He has a purpose in it all. Daniel 2:21 says, "He changes times and seasons. He removes kings and sets up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what is in the darkness, and the light dwells with Him." This verse really shows us that nothing is arbitrary with God. All of it is under His control. He cares about all the little details. God is all powerful. His purposes will come to pass, pass, and he has already established the timing of every event in your life that will unfold. When you're walking in step with God, you are not going to miss the boat on what he has for you. The third encouragement I want to share is that the pain is preparing you for an eternal weight of glory. This, of course, comes from 2 Corinthians 4:17-18 that says, "For this light momentary affliction is preparing for us an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison, as we look not to the things that are seen, but to the things that are unseen. For the things that are seen are transient, but the things that are unseen are eternal." In some ways, the phrase light momentary affliction here might feel like it diminishes the very real suffering many are going through right now. Maybe it's suffering of waiting or a prayer not being answered how you hoped it would. Maybe it's persecution or physical ailment or the loss of a loved one or the loss of a dream. This verse, however, is not diminishing the weight of all those things, but what it is doing is saying that compared to eternity, compared to the good that God has in store for those who love him, what no eye has seen, no ear has heard, compared to that, even a lifetime of waiting is but a blink, and even the most heinous suffering on this earth, as heavy as it is light in comparison to the weight of glory that is waiting for us in eternity when we are in Christ, which is hard for us to wrap our minds around because obviously we haven't experienced it yet, but what a hopeful truth to hold on to when we're feeling the weight of the here and now, that something much weightier in a good way is coming, something we cannot even now comprehend. This verse also shows us that God cares about the things we're waiting for, and he has a plan for those things, but he also cares deeply about who he is shaping us into right now. Through the suffering, God is shaping us more into his likeness, and through it, he is preparing glory that we will one day step into. If you are in a waiting season and feel discouraged by lack of change, I encourage you to memorize one of these verses, whichever one stood out to you most, or maybe all of them, and cling to them in those moments of despair. And so we can lift you all up, I would love to hear from you down in the comments as a fun little question. 1, what is your favorite season? And 2, what is one thing you're currently praying for? What can we join with you in prayer as you are in this waiting season? As a reminder, if you want to join me in taking the Paradise Lost course, you can head right now to hillsdale.edu/Kaci to enroll completely for free. I cannot think of a better resource that is such a good investment of your time, especially in a waiting season. I pray this video was an encouragement to you. Thank you so much for being here with me in it, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.